morning, dear students. I am Pooja Srivastava. Today, we are going to study a very interesting chapter. Let's see pictures. Here are the pictures. Now, I want you to understand what exactly is happening in these two pictures. Yes, you are absolutely correct. You must be thinking that these are the farmers and they are working in their field. So, when people work in their field, in villages and earn their living, they rural livelihood. So today we are going to learn about rural livelihood. So before going into the chapter and understanding further, I would like you to understand meaning of rural and livelihood. Rural means villages and livelihood means any work that is done to earn money to live. So from these two concepts, we are very clear that villagers who work in the field and earn their living are called rural livelihood. They earn their living primarily from the farming and selling the products that they grow in their fields. Livelihood depends on the following factors. Number one, the place where people live. Number two, the skill they acquire. Number three, the education they receive. So, we can conclude that livelihood depends on the following factors: the place, the skill, and education. Occupations. There are various occupations that is taken up by the rural people. They are crop cultivation, fishing, collection of forest products, animal husbandry, and craft and trade. So these are the few occupations that are primarily taken up by the village. Let's take one by one. Crop cultivation. So what do we understand by crop cultivation? Crop cultivation means people cultivate crops in their fields and then sell it for their living. So as we all know that major population of India lives in villages and India is also said to be as an agricultural country. So that is the reason major population of India produces crops and they lives in villages. Farmers produce crops on large scales. Government provides subsidy to farmers on electricity, water, fertilizers, etc. As we know that government help these farmers in various ways, so giving subsidy is another way. Subsidy means providing these necessities at reduced rate or price so that farmer can easily avail these resources and produce more crops. Now let's see types of farmers. There are broadly two types of farmers: land-owning farmers and agricultural laborers. Land-owning, as the name suggests, are the farmers who own land and they employ laborers to work on their land. Thus, they have leisure time and additional source of livelihood, and thus they get more income. On the other hand, agricultural laborers, they do not own any land and they are the people who work in the farm of these land-owning farmers or sometimes other work as well. These agricultural laborers, they get less paid for the work that they do in the field or in the field of the landowning farmers. They migrate to cities when there is no work available. Work available means when there is no crop related work available, so they migrate to cities. And that is the reason we see that a lot of people migrate to cities to get their livelihood from villages. The next one is fishing. As we all know that in the coastal areas, fishing is an important source of livelihood. People most of the time survive on this single type of occupation. Fishing, there are two types of fishermen, big fishermen and small fishermen. Big fishermen, they can afford good equipment and earn well. They can also invest in other business because they have more money. They are the one who also recruits other people to work with them in their fishing business. Small fishermen, they solely depend on day's catch. They do not have better equipments, and thus they are the one who works with the bigger farmers, bigger fishermen and earn their living. This kind of crop cultivation has a lean period, means period of low activity during the monsoon. So basically here what happens, there are certain seasons where the crop cultivation reduces because of the weather, and thus this period is called period of low activity. And during these periods, these kind of cultivations are promoted, and especially during monsoon. We see that during monsoon, fishery is one business which is very much in demand, and people do that business. Collection of forest products. This is another way of occupation that villagers normally opt for, because we see most of the villagers, they live near the forest, and that is the reason it becomes very easy for them to collect forest products. So they collect and sell the forest products like wood, honey, tendu leaves, mahua flowers, etc. So here are the symbolic pictures or tendu leaf, mahua flower, the tree, the wood that they usually sell. The next one is animal husbandry. Animal husbandry is one very trending, we can say very trending occupation that nowadays farmers are adopting. So this kind of occupation is mostly adopted by the people who are living in mountainous regions. The reason being, they live on the slopes of the mountain, and it becomes really difficult for them to do cultivation there. And moreover, the cloud is also, the weather is also very cold there. So people here rear sheep and goat. So they sell their wool and earn their livelihood. So all over India, not only in the hilly areas, but all over the India, people do rear other animals like cows, buffaloes, goats, etc. to mainly get milk and milk products. Craft and trade. Craft and trade is another very interesting kind of occupation that villages adapt. Traditionally, we see that the craft, the handicraft, which comes from the tribal areas, are very much trending in our urban areas. People like this very much, and these crafts are exported to the other countries as well. So we can see that Indian craft is very rich. So here what rural people do is they do some skill-based work, and this skill-based work, this skill-based craft provide them earning. So there are certain crafts like you can see in the picture, weaving and carpet making. There are a few more like basket making and pot making. So these handcrafts that are made by the villagers, and with this they earn their living. Apart from this, there are other work as well, where there are certain set of other skills required. For example, tailors, barbers, cobblers, bicycle mechanics, smiths, carpenters, shopkeepers, and so on. So these people, they work and earn their money. Their job is also skill based, but it is different from the craft work. Now, government jobs. Government also helps the villagers to run their life successfully and improve their living of standards. So, government runs banks, post offices, schools, hospitals, etc. in villages. You can see in the picture the schools, post offices, Grameen banks, Samudayic Kendras, Swasthya Kendras. These are the few of the government institutions which are open in villages, and these are basically set to provide jobs and better opportunities and better exposure to people living in villages. People here can earn their living and improve their living standards. And apart from that, people not only from the village but from the cities, they do get the opportunity to work in these places and get an opportunity to interact with the people in the villages. So here, this provides, with this government's initiative, we can say that it provides job opportunities to the villagers and to the people in urban areas as well. Some people from cities also work in villages, as I said. Women in villages do household chores and also work outside their homes. So we can say that the standard of women are also improving. They are working hard to prove themselves, and they are also helping their counterpart to earn living and make their lives better. So we have references. Thank you so much.